Well, I'm very pleased the government has finally acknowledged that their scheme won't work, and more importantly that it doesn't have the numbers to get through the parliament. Because let's be quite clear, Stephen Conroy has not suddenly become a defender of free speech or internet freedom. The only reason he isn't imposing this great big government controlled filter on the internet is because he knows he can't get it through the parliament. Now, we've been saying ever since they announced it in 2007, it would not work. It would not work. It would dramatically limit internet freedom and freedom of speech, and it would create a false sense of security with parents who would think that the government was protecting their children from seeing bad material online and from being stalked by pedophiles online. It would create that false sense of security and of course the internet filter would have been quite ineffective. And our focus when we were in government and today remains very much on parental vigilance and giving the tools, the software tools and other tools to parents and schools and guardians to be vigilant about what their children are doing online. You cannot outsource parental responsibility to the federal government.
The government's also reached agreement with internet service providers, forcing them to take responsibility for blocking child abuse websites, but that's really only seen to be 90% effective. Is that enough, and is that something you support?
Well, that's something that's been going on for years, by the way. There is absolutely nothing new in that, and that is simply internet service providers complying with directions from the police about sites that are holding or showing child pornographic material that is unlawful. So ISPs have been doing that for years, and that clearly identified blacklist was part of our policy that we took to the 2007 election. So there is absolutely nothing new there. Yes, that is worthwhile, but it is not going to stop child pornography online, and the reason for that is that most of the pornographic material that you're talking about is being exchanged in peer-to-peer networks, so it's not appearing on websites in the normal way, and a lot of the grooming and so forth is occurring in chat rooms and other messaging services and chat type services. Which is why that there is no substitute for parental and guardian vigilance, for educating kids about not just the great opportunities in the online environment, but the risks, and above all, for really good policing. The best way to deal with these pedophiles and people who prey on children online is to catch them, charge them, convict them, and make an example of them.
The reality is, though, that police and parents, no matter how hard they try, they can't keep an eye on everyone. They can't catch everyone, can they?
Well, of course they can't, and that's one of the realities of life. You can't catch everybody, so the answer is to be as vigilant as you can, to do the best you can, and this is where Conroy's internet filter was so pernicious, because not only would it have given the government the mechanism to censor the internet. You remember they were going to censor it in accordance with a list that was to be secret, wasn't even going to be published. This was the closest parallel to what Stephen Conroy and Kevin Rudd and Julia Gillard have been proposing for the last 5 years was what is done in China. So it's a very serious restriction on free speech, but it is absolutely consistent with Senator Conroy's approach to the industry and to the media industry. He wants to impose new controls on the newspaper industry. This is a man who, speaking to an industry forum in New York recently, boasted that he was so powerful as Australia's communications minister, if he told media and telecom executives to go to work wearing red underpants on their heads, well, they just have to do it. Now that is a breathtaking arrogance. And this is a government that wants to control our lives, and a minister who is a complete control freak. So don't think he's changed. The only reason he's backed off this is because he knows he cannot get it through the parliament. He will be heartbroken that he's been effectively mugged by political reality today. He hasn't changed his spots.
Malcolm Turnbull, just before I let you go, Barack Obama ran an incredible campaign leading up to his election win this week. You tweeted this week that it was also remarkable the GOP's failure to win under the current circumstances. It looks like Labor is going to run the same playbook as Barack Obama. Are you satisfied that your party's doing enough to win an election that many considered unlosable not so long ago?
Well, I mean, you're saying that the Republicans' campaign, you're saying they lost an unlosable election from their point of view. I don't know if it was ever unlosable, but certainly Obama was...
I'm not saying it was unlosable, just that it was, in terms of the economic situation, the unemployment rate so high, and Barack Obama's failure in many ways to reach across the aisle and score some big achievements.
No, I agree with you. Obama was incredibly vulnerable as a first-term president, given the economic situation. And let's face it, the Republicans not only lost the presidential election very convincingly after spending, I think, $3 billion or thereabouts, they went backwards in the Senate, and they've essentially status quo in the House. So they've got nothing out of this. And I think the lessons for that for everybody is that if you run off to the extremes in politics, which is what the Republicans did, some of their candidates were saying some really bizarre things, which resulted in them losing. If you run off to the extremes, you lose the credibility of the middle ground, and elections are won in the middle ground. And so that's why we're very focused on the real issues that affect all Australians. We, speaking as a member of the Liberal Party, we are always a party that is focused on the centre, on the sensible centre, and winning over the voters in the middle.
Malcolm Turnbull, thanks for your time.
Thank you.